The truth in short, someone's got to love someone more. It's all a power struggle.
Looking at the background of both companies, it can be said that Burberry has been around for 131 years more than Ted Baker. By the time Ted Baker was established, Burberry had already stores in London and Paris. However, Ted Baker managed to create a well-known name in the UK, as well as spreading intercontinentally to the US, Australia and New Zealand.
Using the Pestel analysis, there are a few key points here to take into consideration, such as legal. This affected the fashion industry vastly. The increase in VAT meant people were spending less, which ultimately meant companies such as Burberry and Ted Baker were losing profits. The increase in minimum wage hadn't helped either. The economic also suffered. The recession hit the fashion industry, people spending less on designer goods, whereas Ted Baker are a UK company. Burberry has diversified to become a worldwide company that many recognise. This means though the UK have suffered with the recession, Burberry has still been able to achieve revenue elsewhere. The technological advances is also something to take into consideration. Burberry has seemed to have seized their technological advancements by embedding their clothes with microchips. This allows customers going into changing rooms to see that product that they've taken on the catwalk and to see how it is worn. Ted Baker hasn't introduced or taken advantage of this type of technological advancements, which could ultimately leave them behind.
Porter of Five Forces. Power of buyers is a low moderate. The buyer power is not strong due to substitutions. Inflation and economic downturn affects the buyer power of customers. Where power of suppliers is a low moderate, retail are diverse and spread across the board. Leverage buying power to achieve good terms under capacity in Asia and China. Competitive rivalry is moderate. Danger of intense competition from top brands such as Armani, Coach, Polo, and Gucci. There is a large number of small competitors. The threats of substitutes are a lot established luxury brands. Limitation clothing can be significant through the revenue, however, given the social political environment individuals live in, coupled with the need for individual and group identity, makes luxury retail clothing essential to consumers. Therefore, overall threat of substitutes to the luxury goods market is assessed as weak. Threat of new entrants are strong. Fashion industry growing and maybe threat of new cheaper brands. Entry does not require a large capital outlay setting up a single independent clothing retail store is within the mean of many individuals. However, retaliation by existing players such as the launch of a price war is possibility, especially where a new entrant moves into more concentrated segment. Overall, the threat of new entrants is assessed as a strong.
In the financial comparison we did for Burberry and Ted Baker, we analyzed the key financial values of 2012 for both companies. The revenue for Burberry is nearly 9 times bigger than that of Ted Baker. The net income of Burberry is 263.3 million, whereas Ted Baker had a net income of 17.56 million. The difference in the dividend per share between the two companies is 0.02. The earnings per share have a difference of 0.2, in both cases Burberry having the bigger value. The cash flow at Burberry is 40.4 million. Ted Baker has a negative cash flow of minus 12 million. Burberry has 192 times more cash than Ted Baker. The total assets of Burberry are over 1.6 billion. Ted Baker has only 133 million worth of assets. The total debt for Burberry exceeds Ted Baker's debt by more than 202 million. To summarize, we can say that Burberry in general is a much larger organization.
To compare Burberry and Ted Baker using the McKinsey 7S approach. When it comes to strategy, Burberry has 5 main strategies. Controlling distribution channels such as retail, improving operations, and investing in new markets are some of the strategies that Ted Baker and Burberry have in common. In terms of structure, Burberry has a larger number of employees, and so it has a board and different committees for risk management, decision-making, and performance monitoring. Ted Baker, however, has 8,000 employees and functions through a hierarchy consisting of multiple divisions. Furthermore, the two companies' systems are similar in terms of regulation and employee responsibility, as well as internal monitoring of performance. Both Burberry and Ted Baker have created a corporate culture which engages all stakeholders in the companies. The style of leadership at Burberry is transformational. Managers identify individuals' talents and promote them within the firm so as to align the 5 strategies with the personnel capabilities. Similarly, Ted Baker promotes individuality and creativity in each employee. Both firms focus on hiring the most creative staff. However, Burberry has succession programs to train unskilled staff. Burberry has nearly 9,500 employees who can buy shares from the company, whereas Ted Baker has 8,000 employees and have discounts to Ted Baker products. Both firms have ongoing recruitment. However, Burberry trains new staff, whereas Ted Baker seeks already experienced staff in production and fashion designing.
The similarities and differences of Ted Baker and Burberry value chain. Similarities in brand logistics for Ted Baker and Burberry are quite similar due to the fact they operate by keeping a high percentage of their goods and materials in the warehouse. They both use the system whereas they know the numbers of selected items they have in stock and what needs to be ordered by the suppliers by a control management IT system. Outbound logistics, both Burberry and Ted Baker have very unique selling points for the customers. Both go the extra mile to please their customer to ensure they have the shopping experience like no other. For example, Burberry consumers are directed to a sofa by one of the sales staff, then presented with a swipe machine and with your purchase already wrapped, while Ted Baker transforms its pre-existing traditional mall structure in Santa Monica Place into an open-air shopping spectacular to maximize the California sunshine. Firm's infrastructure, Burberry and Ted Baker's head office are both in the United Kingdom. The differences: marketing and sales. Ted Baker's marketing and sales strategy is very different to any other retail due to the fact that they don't use promotion or advertisement but are one of the fastest growing brands in the UK. Their vacuum for advertisement is through word of mouth. Ted Baker's strategy focuses on 3 main areas, which is 1, expansion of their collection to compete in the retail market, 2, controlled distribution through 3 main areas, retail, wholesale and licensing, 3, managed development of existing and new international markets, while Burberry on the other hand rely heavily on their marketing and promotion because they cater for the high-end consumers in the retail market. Burberry revealed in 2011 that it spends over 60% of its marketing budget to digital media, 3 times more than the market average. Technology developments. Burberry has ensured that it focuses on process development of increased purchase of renewable energy to save costs. Also, it uses the social media such as Facebook to send out samples of new collections and fragrances, which blossomed them with 250,000 potential customers signing up. While Ted Baker has focused more on the security of the product, which has now introduced a new radio frequency identification RIFD tags for the clothing and accessories for the use of wireless non-contact system that uses radio frequency electromagnetic field to transfer data from the tag attached to an object for the purpose of automatic identification and tracking of their products.
SWOT analysis for Burberry and Ted Baker. Strength. Both have a well-known brand name and high quality. Ted Baker is among the biggest fashion store in Europe, whereas Burberry is among the biggest fashion store in the world, locating, for example, in China. Both Burberry and Ted Baker have loyal customers. Ted Baker differs from Burberry in its diversity of providing not just clothing and accessory but also toiletry. Weakness. Burberry attracts different culture, whereas Ted Baker, as a very British company, may not attract different culture. Ted Baker has 33 stores and 153 concessions, mostly in the UK and in Europe. Ted Baker doesn't advertise much, therefore limiting the customer awareness. Opportunities. Technology is a benefit to both industry. Machinery allows their clothes to be made faster and better quality. Both are similar as they use online shopping, allowing them to gain greater market share and sell worldwide. The disadvantage of technology is online shopping may call for a decrease in physical retail outlet store. Threat. The recession has played a big threat in all fashion companies. Demand for luxury goods is slowly decreasing, with even the wealthiest shoppers cutting back, affecting the company's profit. Ted differs from Burberry as the increase in obesity and the fact they only produce up to a certain size will decrease their market share. Both face the challenge of decreasing their carbon footprint, or else they will face heavy fines.
In conclusion, the key similarities between Ted Baker and Burberry are that they have both been affected by the VAT rise and increase in minimum wage, which means they both lost out on profits. However, the key differences are the technological and economical. Technological in the sense of using microchips in their clothing and Ted Baker not taking advantage of this technological advancement. Also, Burberry have been able to successfully diversify and becoming a worldwide brand name. However, Ted Baker are still in the process of becoming well known worldwide. The key challenges they both face are keeping their loyal customers. With the recession hitting and other cheaper alternatives out there, it may be hard to keep on to customers. Another challenge for them both is keeping green. With the current market becoming ever increasingly conscious about the environment, both companies may have to take into consideration their carbon footprint. Ted Baker also faces a further challenge trying to diversify successfully, as it is still in the process of doing so. This could cost a lot of money and evidently end unsuccessfully.